Welcome back to another episode of DietzEatz. I am super excited because something awesome has just fallen into my lap. For 1 or 2 weeks, not sure how long, but for at least a little while, a wood pellet smoker has fallen into my lap. Now, I've never smoked anything before. I've always been curious, never done anything with it. But this smoker is very, very intuitive, and it seems almost dummy-proof. So I should be able to get some pretty good food out of that. First thing that we got up is we are making burnt ends out of pork shoulder. So I'm super excited for this. It's going to be a 2-day process because it just works better for my schedule. But super excited, burnt ends. They get nice and crispy, charred, they're tender. I never had it with pork, so we'll see how that goes, but I'm super excited, so let's get cooking. First up on the docket is to trim some of this fat off of our pork shoulder. Now, some fat is good. Actually, it's delicious, but I'm not looking for a big old glob of fat to go into my mouth. Save some of that fat you cut off, though. We're not going to use it in this video, but it's good for sauteing vegetables in for a different meal. I'm cutting it in half to separate the part with the bone. The easiest way to separate the pork from the bone is to cut off large chunks of meat. Then use your hands to separate the meat from the bone a little so you make a nice easy path for the knife. This may take a while, but keep working at it and eventually all that pork will come off. With our meat separated from the bone, we are now going to cut our pork into 1-inch strips. And even though there is some nice fat in our pork, after the fact I really do wish I had used a little bit of a fattier piece of meat, like the belly. Oh well though, you live and you learn. When your strips of meat are cut, go ahead and start cubing your meat. We're going for 1-inch by 1-inch cubes. Reason for this is because we want a lot of surface area for that smoke to come in contact with. Try to have the chunks of meat be as consistent as possible. This is to ensure they will cook at the same rate. With that all cubed up, these mama jammas need a little bit of flavor. Our dry rub will be made of Lowry's, cinnamon, garlic powder, onion powder, and don't you dare forget the cumin. Give that a nice toss to get everything uniform. Sprinkle that deliciousness all over your pork cubes and start mixing. Make sure every bit of the pork is covered, and I'm going to let this sit in the fridge overnight. It is now tomorrow and our smoker is preheated to 275. When placing the pork on the smoker, make sure they are evenly spread out with all sides open to the smoke. Now, because of the type of smoker I have, I'm going to set these down and walk away for a little bit. However, if you have a wood fire smoker, you should be a little more diligent about checking your temperature. Our first check is an hour and a half in, and as you can see, they're starting to gain some color. But if you're looking, you ain't cooking, so we're going to close this back up. So we're going to do this 2 different ways, half of them plain and half of them with barbecue sauce. So far, they've been cooking for about 3 hours. What we're gonna do is remove about half of them. And just take a look at these because they are starting to look good. Go ahead and douse these in barbecue sauce and give them a good stir. Place them back on the grill for about 45 minutes. So here we got our burnt ends in front of us. Super excited. This is some of the best meat I've ever cooked. Partly due because I've never used a smoker before, but these are good. Now the difference between these two is the ones that stayed out of the barbecue sauce, they have a lot more texture to them. That smoky flavor is a lot more apparent. Some of them got a little overdone, but they do just kind of fall apart in your mouth with that low and slow cooking. Barbecue sauce, a little less crispy. They still fall apart, yet obviously you get that flavor in there that you didn't in the other ones. I think I prefer the ones outside of barbecue sauce though. I like that texture, that coating, a lot more smokiness coming through, which is hard to do without a smoker. So that's why I think I like those a lot more. But both are delicious, both are great. A nice way to cheat your burnt ends. and do them without cooking a whole brisket or a whole piece of meat or something. So great meal, great first experience with the smoker. I am super excited to mess around with this some more. But thank you so much for watching DietzEatz, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Like our video and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you check out some other DietzEatz videos for some other fun foods that you can make, and we'll see you next time.